Hello and welcome to Feasibility.pro. In this part of the video, I'm going to explore the relationship between project IRR and equity IRR. Can equity IRR be lower than the project IRR? And if, in what situation, it can be lower than project IRR? And also, what is the relationship between the cost of debt and equity IRR and project IRR? So we will explore all these concepts in this short video. So let's get started. So here is a simple Excel example which we will exploring to calculate the project IRR and equity IRR. It is very simple problem where we have very simple set of assumptions. I have a project where the construction cost is say 1 million and it's generate an annual income of 120,000 USD, and at the end of 10th year I'm going to sell this project for 1.6 million. So what is my construction cost? My construction cost will be this. Obviously this is a negative cash flow. I'm assuming this is happening in a year one. Okay, and then rental income start from the next year actually. So we have this, and I assume that there is no escalation. It remains as it is for the year 10. And so this is 120,000 every year. And in the year 10th, I'm just going to sell this project or the asset at value which we have already decided at 1.6 million. So this is my total cash flow, and I just need to calculate the IRR. We'll use simple IRR formula. And as you must know, the IRR is a discount rate at which, by definition, the NPV becomes zero. So I have other videos on project IRR and how to calculate the IRR and what type of formulas are available in Excel to calculate the IRR, XIRR, MIRR. We have a different separate video on this one, so you can go and look at this one. Coming back to this, so the IRR, we just take the cash flows and press enter. I get IRR at 15%. This was a very simple cash flow where there is no debt or equity concept. It's just pure cash flows, and the project generates 15% of IRR. Now just go and let's make this problem a little bit complicated. So I have same set of assumptions here: construction cost, annual rental income, sales value. These are the additional assumptions I have, where equity is, say, equity contribution is 30%, debt contribution is obviously 1 minus equity, so that gives you 70%. Cost of equity, just assume that it is 14%. Cost of debt, I don't know, just say 8% or 7%, okay? Just say 7%, and weighted average cost, it will be calculated by the contribution of, what is the contribution of debt and equity and their cost, so you get a weighted average cost of capital. Now again, let's construct the cash flow, project cash flow. So you have the project construction cost, which will happen in year 0, and then you have next year starting rental income, which is around 120,000. And I'm just saying that this remains constant as my previous example, so it will remain same up to year 10. And in year 10, I'm just going to sell this asset for 1.6 million as previously agreed, or same as what was in the previous example. So my project IRR is obviously the same cash flow. It gives me, I use the same formula, it gives me same 15%. Now I have additional cash flow where I have financing cash flow. So I'm withdrawing loan, which is total cash, and this is 70% of 1 million, which is 700,000. And then I have equity contribution, which is 30% of the 1 million, which is again 300,000. And these are the these are the cash inflows, so they are positive. So what is the net cash flow post finance? I'm just summing this and adding back this project net cash flow. So this is my cash flows, and I have here cash flow for equity holders. So equity holders are But there is one thing here, there is a loan element, so I need to calculate the payment. So I'll use the formula PMT, which is very simple formula. It is just the rate. So my rate is 7%. I will just fix it, and my NPR is 10-year duration, and my loan, which is the PV, is 700,000. So this will give me a kind of EMI, and I just drag it to the year 10. So gives now I have the net cash flow. So although the project is generating 120,000, the equity holder or the net cash flow is only 20,000 something. And similarly, the cash flow to equity holder is minus 300,000, which is basically the equity contribution. And then you have, this is the net cash flow, which will go to equity holder. This is the net of the financing. So that's pure equity cash flow. And again, then we will get the asset proceeds. So again, the equity IRR is calculated on the cash flow to the equity holder. So you get around 21.9%. And project IRR here is less than the equity IRR, and that's why usually people take loan to maximize the return of the equity holder. But I need to explore, what is the relationship between these two as the debt or the cost of debt changes. So I'll just create a sensitivity table here. I have already cost of debt from 8% or say 7%. And then 8%. What is the original? This is the original. I will keep what is the base. So base is 7%. That's okay. And then you have 8, and I will just make it equal to this plus 0.01. 9% and 10%, 11%. I'll just drag it down to up to say 25%. Okay. And now I'm going to calculate the equity IRR for all of this cost of debt. And the funny thing is that the project IRR is totally independent of cost of debt. So I'll just take this one here and make it absolute. So I'll fix it and drag it up down to here. Now I need to find out what is the equity IRR for all of this. Obviously, I can use the data table which we have, and the equity IRR is 21, so I will keep it here. And what I will do, I'll just select this one and go to data, and then go to what if analysis, and then data table. Here it is asking the row input cell or the column input cell. So column input cell, because my variables are in column, so I'm going to the column input cell, and the input here is this value. So I'm just going to press OK, and it will automatically calculate the equity IRR for all the given situations of cost of debt. Now I'm going to plot this data just to see the relationship between these three variables. So I just go and insert a line graph. That is much easier to see the relationship. Now you have this graph here, which is you have a very clean relationship between these three variables. So this is your cost of debt. So you can see the moment the cost of debt keep increasing, the equity IRR keeps dropping. And project IRR is obviously independent of cost of debt, so it remains constant. And there is a point where all of this is almost same, and this is basically somewhere like 15%. So if you go here, this is the value we have. They are almost same values. So yes, so what we have seen in this example is that usually the equity IRR will be more than the project IRR. That's why people take debt, because the cost of debt is less. But there will be a situation where the equity IRR can be lower than the project IRR. And obviously the one such a situation is when the cost of debt is more than the project IRR. So the equity IRR will keep decreasing. So this was my take on the relationship between equity IRR and project IRR. And hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any comment, please let me know in the comment section. And you can also download the Excel file. The link to Excel file is in the description. Thank you.